Long split. Many flash fails have occurred and many Baron
Baron
steals.
steals.
Baron steals, flash fails, double BF sword builds. But you know what? We're here and it's the finals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ILO finals for the fall 2015 split. My name is Jose Skeptic Chodomek. Alongside me, the king of diamond himself, Sean A. the Star Hamilton. How's it going, my man?
Oh, everything's going fine with me. Just spent a lot of relaxing now that finals are over for me.
I wish I could say the same. I'm incredibly envious. I haven't even started. Can you believe that?
Holy shit, you're
I
gonna.
haven't
Oh
started.
man.
I have 3 on Monday and 1 on Wednesday. Three tomorrow, 1 on Wednesday. So, good times. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be getting right into Champion Select as we have Team Sigh versus Team NYNBW, the Kings of the Rift, in one final epic showdown to see who's going to take it all. Victor Nivea Nar from Team Sigh, Mundo Lee Sin, and a third band to come from NYNBW, and Rek'Sai. So definitely very jungle centered bands coming out from the side of NYNBW. Definitely fearing potential TS shenanigans going on in the jungle.
You know, it's very interesting how these bands worked out, just because that, as you mentioned just now, it's a lot of target towards the jungle, and then on the side of Team Side, we have a couple of mid lane bands and a Nara band. I find it interesting that they want to leave us so many other good picks, because I don't feel like Nara has to be that priority of a pick unless you're just that afraid of it. Because it's like, if he picks Nara, guess what? Just top lane Yasuo, am I right?
Maybe it's for the counter, so maybe he wants to play something like Hecarim top. Maybe there's a strategy that they've practiced around that, and they really fear the Gnar. Because I agree with you, I don't really see any potential point and any reason why they would have to ban that, unless they want to play Aatrox top, I guess. I mean, I'm a Gnar main. I've never even played an Aatrox before. I can imagine that the lane is pretty okay for Gnar.
But yeah, it's versus Team Sai going for that first pick Lulu. We saw them play that to very good effect yesterday. So I'm wondering if NYNBW knew they were going to pick up Lulu and wanted to let it through anyway, because this is a strong first pick side. But then it's like, even though they have the Lulu, there's still a couple of good things open on their side, because you have Kindred open, you have Tam Kench open. It's going to be Braum being locked in right here, and then we have Maokai picked up as well.
Interesting. So we've been seeing so much Lulu, and we've been seeing the Lulu in the professional play, and it's such a good champion on this patch, especially because of the Frost Queen's rework. So the amount of utility that Lulu can provide outside of her kit is already immense enough.
Right,
So
because you could just use Spooky Ghost and then Whimsy someone to basically pick someone off, essentially.
Yeah. I don't recall Yolo Gucci Squad actually playing Lulu in the semis, so I'm gonna imagine that this is going to be going in the mid lane Lulu potentially.
Yeah, because this is what they did yesterday, where they had the Lulu mid and the Morgana support, and then you see it was like the components that they had yesterday. Whereas if you try to fight someone, they're just protected by too many things, and you can't even blow up a single target. And I feel that this is a mistake on NYNBW's part to give them the Lulu along with the Morgana, because then you just pigeonhole yourself into the situation where it's just really hard to team fight against them, considering all the utility and the CC that they have. Because they have the Jungle Null list, where, personally for me, I feel like Jungle Null is weak in the sense that it provides not much damage, but it is good in terms of all the CC that it provides. And I feel that, considering their composition, probably better for them to have locked in Kindred, because then if you have Lulu, Morgana, and Kindred, it's very hard to team fight against the teams with something like that. And then we have Jackson Callista on the side of NYNBW, so I'm assuming there's going to be a jungle Maokai, and that this is going to be the top lane Jax. So I'm going to see what they're going to bring on the mid lane, but overall right now I feel like they're going to be weaker in terms of team fighting against Team Side, because if you use Maokai, you try to snare someone, Black Shield saves them completely from your CC effects. Jax tries to dive in, he gets Dark Bind, and then he just gets kited from there, because Dark Bind is for 3 seconds, and then there's Soul Shackles on top of that.
It's so annoying.
and now we have Quinn and Kog'Maw being hovered right here. So Kog'Maw has been a favorite of this team, and they're running it just because they have the Lulu and the Morgana to help protect it. Quinn is also another very strong pick as well. It's a lot of strong damage and mobility.
Oh, the insta-lock Vladimir. So, judging by the way that the pick and ban rotations went out, I feel that NYNBW should have been very aware of this sort of Juggernaut-esque comp that Team Sigh is playing is locked in. They've played it already multiple times throughout the playoffs, so it shouldn't come any surprise to them. So I feel that even including the Lulu pick, I feel like NYNBW either doesn't disregards it as such a strong pick, or maybe they feel very confident in the setup that they have, because this is a very strong team fight from NYNBW. There's nothing at all here to laugh about. You have Maokai, you have Braum, and a Jax who can deal so much damage provided he has the peel he needs, and a Maokai and a Braum. That's like, you know, for their intended roles, that's some of the most tankiest champion picks you can get. So I think the team fights here are going to be very explosive and are going to revolve around how TS Wrath and I Do No Damage can kite and maneuver themselves throughout the fight and deal as much damage as possible. Something also to note is that I would imagine that after Mingo picks up his Hextech Revolver, he should be able to control the mid lane, just because all the harassment that the Lulu does will just be negligible in comparison to Vladimir's self-healing. And in addition to that, he's taking Ignite. So while I give early game lead in the mid lane to TS Sloth, I can't imagine that lasting very long unless Mingo gets camped, which is completely possible considering we've seen TS Sloth on Nautilus before, picking up those Moby boots first buy and basically just living in everyone's lane. So it could happen.
But yeah, I also have to talk about that. I feel that there's probably too much late game on the side NYNBW because they have Vladimir, Maokai, Jax, and I feel that it's going to be losing in terms of the early to mid game, especially how fast these games have been going. If you have this Vladimir, he starts scaling up when he hits level 9, but then at that point, you got to think about the early pressure that Quinn provides into his lane matchup. But actually, it's Vlad mid, so he's going to be up against Lulu, so it's not going to be much for him to actually wait. Wait, what? Okay, so because I have no idea right now if Greed is the top
lane, you're thinking right? Quinn might be mid?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to understand where the matchups are happening right now, because I feel that it's not gonna be good for him if he has to play into the Quinn.
If we go back to the previous playoff games, for example, against Batch of Ratchets, Team Sigh, TS3 played this Quinn multiple times against Sprinkles' top lane champions into his into his Jax, into his Darius. So just based off of that, I feel that he's very comfortable with the lane matchup. So I would expect this to be a Quinn top. However, in those previous matchups, I don't recall him taking Ignite. Maybe I just forgot. I'm forgetting and overlooking it. But the Ignite top, if it's Quinn into Jax top lane, this Jax is going to have the worst lane experience he's probably ever going to have. So I expect to see US Economy basically living top lane, which would also mean that Lust would pretty much always know where US Economy is, and he can either counter gank or he can just gank elsewhere. But watching Nautilus and a Maokai just slap each other around for a few minutes would be pretty entertaining as well. we talk about supportal combat, but when two tank junglers meet, it's about as boring as it can get.
There was a very famous clip I saw where it was from a match in Korea where at the end, it was during the Cinderhawk patch too, where at the end of a team fight that happened, all that was left was 3 tanks. It was a tank Rengar, a tank Nautilus, and I think it might have been some other support tank, and they were just fighting for the whole entire time as their team is dead. And then they couldn't end up killing the Nautilus just because he ran to a super minion wave.
Oh, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be getting into the loading screen here. Once again, these are the the fall finals of the ILO playoffs. On the blue side is going to be Team Sigh once again in the top lane. We expect to see TS Greed. In the jungle, TS Sloth. Mid lane, TS Sloth. AD carry, TS Wrath, the captain. And on support, YOLO Gucci Swag. And on the red side is going to be Team NYNBW. In the top lane, Mentos. In the jungle, the US Economy. In the mid lane is going to be Mingo. 80 carry, I do no damage. And supporting is I'm at you. I'm going to go Matt you. Yeah, let's go with that. So, yeah, you touched on how incredible, the incredible amount of scaling that NYNBW has. We're going to have to see how they can play around their weak early game. They do have the Braum, so in the event of a level 1 skirmish, they're not completely out of options. But I'm going to be interested to see just how TS Lust once again can get control of the river sides, can push up his ward line for the team, and just keep tracking where U.S. economy goes. As we see both teams loading into the rift here, and they immediately head out and start fanning around the river sides, covering all their entrances and wards, and in the case of U.S. economy, saplings. So talk to me about this bot lane here. Sean, what are you feeling? Kalista, Braum, Morgana, Kog'Maw.
So the Morgana Kog'Maw lane has to play it more defensively just because Kalista's laning is a lot stronger than Kog'Maw's. And there's the fact that, if the Braum decides to, get the concussive blow proc on you, you can Black Shield the stun, so it's not too bad in that regard. So for most part, they just have to play defensively until Kog'Maw finishes Rage Blade, in which case he can abuse his range advantage over Kalista in that regard. But until that happens, he's going to be suffering a bit.
1:45 on the clock, and the lanes have started meeting one another. TS Lust going to be starting on the Krugs. U.S. economy taking his Gromp. Both junglers looking to take their second buff and then head perhaps to the top lane. We are going to be seeing TS Sloth though in the mid lane, so it is going to be the top Quinn. Going to want to keep my eyes out to see just how brutal that top lane is going to be. We saw Sprinkles really suffering against the likes of the Quinn top, falling behind in CS early. Going to see how effective that is once again here. As we see TS Sloth trying to get the better of Mingo. Mingo doing a good job right now, just equalizing the trades as much as possible, using the transfusion onto TS Sloth as much as possible to regain as much health as he can. As we do see him, not surprisingly, push underneath his turret. The Glitter Lance, an amazing trade tool in the mid lane, able to both trade and push away at the same time. Something that's very, very potent in the early levels. And looking at the top lane, we do see once again the bullying going on. TS Greed just shoving Mentos away from the lane. Mentos, respecting the matchup, does start with a cloth armor. He did start cloth 4, which is pretty impressive. TS Sloth, though, the Lulu that he is, just gonna whimsy out of that game. US economy gonna have to consider a different strategy for the next one. Could have gone for that potential flash twisted advance. May or may not have been effective. Would have had to see.
I don't think he was. If they both double flash for it, it could have been a potential kill.
They would have had to kill inside the twisted advance though, because then at that point, TS Sloth can just flash away and shield away and be a Lulu.
Yeah, there's someone disconnected, so there's a pause happening right now.
Nobody was in combat, so this is going to be okay. So we're going to be hanging on tight here, folks, as we do have a pause in this match, but gives us a little bit more time to look at all the item buys. We do see US economy was already forced to back after that gank, picking up his talisman. Nautilus, on the other hand, TS Lust starting Hunter's Talisman. That's an interesting choice. It does increase the base mana region while you're in the jungle, and it does give that lifesteal on hit. But I'm not too familiar with the mechanics of the jungler to know whether or not that's better for the Nautilus. Would you say that jungle Nautilus would go pretty quickly, clearing with the Riptide?
His clear is... It's okay. It's not the greatest. It gets a lot better once he gets the Bambi Cinder component from Cinderhulk.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all in all, the clear also improves a little bit depending on what rooms you're running because you want the Ataxi marks. Ataxi marks are so good for clearing the jungle, it's not even funny.
Alright folks, the game is going to be unpaused. I'm going to get right back into it. We do see TS Lust posturing around that top lane. Very interesting. Are they going to potentially go for a dive? Mentos is at half health, but he is chugging down those biscuits. He still has a few more So this would be risky, as we see yet another pause. This is going to be the second pause. And just to remind everyone of the rules, it is 3 pauses or 10 minutes total. So just going to remind the teams here, so you can bear with me for a moment.
Yeah, man, these technical issues. It's funny because you think there'll ever be a time where Riot finds a way to lower NA ping again?
Besides make a server in every single state. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Would it be worthwhile?
We get the KR Ignite ping in their first blood, going over to TS Greed after that pause. It's crazy because I was not expecting that to happen.
I was not expecting that either. I believe Mentos.
Yeah, it was a lot of damage from the Ignite too.
Yeah, Mentos just walked up to the CS, and I guess maybe the pause. He was, I don't know, distracted or discombobulated from the pause, and Greed just took the opportunity to be greedy, and it paid off. He got it.
Yeah, we have US Economy coming over here, but he doesn't see that Lust is actually right behind them, waiting to help them with the snares coming out and the counter strike coming out, going for the stun on the Lust as he tries to walk away. But there's a snare going on to Mentos as well as a red buff takes on them, and then he hops to safety. Dark Bind landing on the mat right there and calling out those little spittle on the ground.
So walk me through the Kog'Maw build, because we've been seeing.
We have the anchor landing on Mentos as he flashes away with him jumping in with the counter strike, but he dies as Quinn he hops onto him and then flashes away.
Oh, so close. Did manage to land the counter strike stun underneath tower range, but unfortunately ended up paying the price with his life. He did have flash. He didn't flash. But this is going to put Jack severely behind. Not only is he going to be behind the levels because he died, he's also going to be behind the levels because he's been
the anchor lands again as they go for this dive onto US Economy as Lust falls as well, but is another kill going over to TS Greed, so it is a 2-for-1 trade in the long run, and the advantages to Greed are insane right now, especially when you're fighting against this Jax, because Jax, he wants to get that Rage Blade, become a strong split pushing force in the early to mid game, but when you delay that so very well, you turn your own split pushing force of your own in the form of Quinn, and then once Jax can't solo Quinn yet until he gets that Rage Blade, so it's going to be very difficult for him in this laning matchup, especially when his early laning phase is already difficult to begin with.
US Economy did manage to trade his life in that dive, but this is a Warhammer at, 5 minutes? This is going to be a really, really bad time for this Jax, especially because he's more or less an entire level behind as well, so things are only looking to get worse and worse for this top lane carry. But before all the craziness up top occurred, I wanted to ask you, what are you expecting to see out of this Kog'Maw? What kind of a build? Because we've been seeing things all over the place.
Well, so far he's been doing the same thing of Rage Blade into Nashor's too, but I think it would be better for him to do Rage Blade into Runon's Hurricane. They're so much stronger of a build.
Is Trinity Force no longer considered because it doesn't have ability power anymore, or just because Rage Blade is that much better?
Rage Blade is just that much better.
Okay. The item has been nerfed, like gold-wise, I believe, on the PvE, but I don't think that's currently enough to dissuade people from still buying it.
But yeah, and also when you think about it too, it also provides more attack damage and ability power than the old Trinity Force when you reach the max stacks. It also does take into account the bonus attack speed you get from it as well, and also the AoE passive.
Absolutely. In all, though, the bot lane's going back at one another, trading blows. Currently, I do know damage is up by 12 to 13 CS. Whereas in the mid lane is also another lead.
And we have Lust going for this gank. Anchor misses though as Goop makes a pull down, but he still goes back in aim thinking he can turn as US Greed comes in with the roam. A little miscommunication from there for the team in terms of Greed's positioning on the map. And this is going to be a potential dragon going over to Team Sigh.
There was definitely a miscommunication there. Mingo had the Ignite and he wanted to basically trade his life by going all in onto TS Sloth. However, I don't even think if the Hemo Plague and the Ignite landed that TS Sloth would have died just because he still had Wild Growth and Flash as well. So, you know, we talked about how this NYNBW lineup would definitely be struggling in the early game, and we're seeing that here already. A 2,000 gold lead in the favor of Team Sigh, only looking to get worse and worse. Mentos trying to push the top lane and trying, you know, get to that point where he can pick up a Rage Blade and just really start split pushing hard, but it's going to take a while due to how far behind he was put.
I think he's actually going to might go for Trinity Force first because he has the phage components.
That definitely looks like it would be. Trinity Force, I actually haven't seen a Trinity Force on Jax in a long time. You can go Trinity Force third after Gunblade, after Rage Blade, or even second after Rage Blade, but I haven't seen it picked up first item yet. As you said, Rage Blade is just that powerful. And it really helps with the split push too. The AoE damage you get when it's fully stacked is very cool.
Let's mention the mix of ED and ability power you got from it too. Oh, well, he has a pickaxe now, so I think he's still going to go for it. So he's going to go for Rage Blade still.
Mingo forced to use that Sanguine Pool to get away. Very low health, but there's no global on the map that's able to kill him. Meanwhile,
and we also have the Runan's Hurricane Rush on the side of Callista.
Runan's first item. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I personally think it's better to go either Blade of Ruin King or BT first, so you got that attack damage, but we have a skirmish happening here in the jungle as Yusakami gets a little caught out as Sloth and Greed come to help counter jungle him at his right. It's a little hard time for the top mid and jungle side of the map as there's a little trade happening in the bomb side of the map as well, but you know, it's one thing you notice right here about these games with Team Sigh is that their top mid and jungle have a lot of synergy with each other, and their bot lane is just looks to play even in terms of the way the game goes. They look to not either lose lane. Like you see it right now, right here, right where the Kalma is down 20 plus CS, but that's expected just because he's a Kalma and that's the weak lane phase aspect of him. But the fact that he hasn't died is just good for his team, just because he's doing what he can to get his farm, scale up into late game, be that late game insurance for his team as they help him dominate the early to mid game portion of the game.
Definitely a sound strategy. As you mentioned before, the synergy between the top jungle and mid coming in from Team Sigh, just seemingly overwhelming NYNBW. Not really sure how to go around the deep warding that Team Sigh. Look at the top red side jungle of NYNBW. How all those wards are placed deeply and covering every single jungle entrance. Team Sigh always knows where US economy is. There's no route for him to effectively gank, unless of course TS Sloth there goes all in, trying to get a kill onto Mingo. Will be eating that Hemo Plague though. US economy gonna match him there, gets a twisted advance, does begin that Vengeful Maelstrom, will even flash, trying to go into the flash sapling, but to no avail. IMATU does arrive though, does land that glacial that glacial fissure as the damage is going out. TS Wrath with the shield, meeting the rest of his team, pushing Matthew back.
Oh, that damage from the Kog'Maw R. So a good thing to know about Kog'Maw's new R now is that it deals more damage based on how much missing health we have now.
Yep, it's like a Jinx execute, except a lot less fun. I do no damage though. We'll be catching TS Wrath there. Are we going to be seeing the battle of the 80 carries? No, I do no damage. Opt in the background and said X-Mento is going to be eating the Ignite. Gonna be falling immediately. I do no damage. Gonna be eating the Morgana ultimate, and down he goes to the executed TS Wrath. Nicely executed. Rift Herald was also secured by, I believe it was TS Sloth. Yes, it is. And the push goes on. 12 minutes on the clock and a fourth. Yep, 4,000 gold lead in the favor of Team Sigh. Team Sigh, you know, as playoffs have gone on, have definitely been improving more and more on their game strategy, on their compositions, on the way that they rotate. It's been a pleasure to watch them, and you know, it's really the fruits of their labor are really shown here.
Oh man, though, this seems like it's going to be that one-sided stomp in the favor of Team Sigh. So as I mentioned from Foreign Champs League, I felt that there's just too much late game picked on the side of NYNBW with Maokai, Vlad, and Jax.
Oh, TS Greed, hold on a minute. That's not the right way you want to vault. He's just going to be forced to use that flash, but in all honesty, I don't think it's going to be that much of a detriment. Although we do see TS Sloth being forced away by US Economy once again. US Economy being more of a nuisance to TS Sloth than a jungle presence. I think we can all agree on that. Even with the Moby Boots, just unable to catch that Lulu. Oh, an excellent vault will avoid the counter-strike. Does activate the almost Ghost Blade to try and get away. US Economy taking up the turret. Are they going to go for the dive? The answer is no. Sapling does not connect. Mental slow health. US Economy without cooldowns, they're going to back away.
Oh, we have Braum coming in for the roam, but the winner's bite does miss, so...
Dude, Whimsy is broken.
Yeah.
That's what, the 5th or so gank that Whimsy has just neglected.
Oh, the anchor lands on the US Economy, but I think he's biting off a little bit more than he can chew, but they actually decide not to fight this 2v1. They're actually very afraid of the Nautilus.
Let's be fair, right? This is a Cinderhulk level 8 Nautilus already, 13 minutes into the game, and he's very big right now. He's very strong.
This is true, but in terms of just defensive, in terms of the actual damage he does,
oh, he doesn't do any damage at all. I'm just saying it would take them a long time to kill him.
Oh, we have TS Greed come in with the roam as he looks to finish off Mentos, and it seems that I do know damage is going to be next. The exhaust does go on him, and the Glacial Fissure actually misses as he's fighting a 3v1 situation right now. He has no help from his team as his team takes the dragon, so this is just a training to top winner's life for a dragon. They did get a kill out of it, so it's in their favor with a 1-for-1 and getting dragon.
And they're going to be continuing this push on the top lane. Going to be getting that outer turret. Hopefully that will help to expedite the split push process coming in from X-Mentos, who is still struggling to get that Rage Blade. Still hasn't picked it up 14 minutes into the game. Same deal in the mid lane. Actually, Vladimir also suffering from the pressure of TS Sloth and TS Lust. Hasn't even been able to finish his, what is it, Will of the Ancients? So definitely struggling NYNBW with this scaling composition. You're gonna have to see how they can stem the bleeding. 15 minutes on the clock and still a 3,000 gold lead in the favor of Team Sigh. It was a 4,000 gold lead, so the last few moments have been slightly beneficial to NYNBW, although only slightly. But as a result of the laning phase, we actually surprisingly do see a 20 CS lead in the favor of Mingu in the mid lane, as well as a 20, now more of a 15-ish CS lead for I Do No Damage.
So I was actually surprised at the bans for this game, just because there was a lot of jungle targeted bans that I feel that they're going to start to see that the problems right here are the Lulu, but we had the depth charge come in onto I Do No Damage as he takes so much damage, and basically called guest use to save Braum, but I think he might be the next victim right here with potential Whimsy from the Lulu, but US Economy coming to show his face just to help Braum out of danger.
TS Sloth, despite his CS deficit right now, is just such a nuisance.
Oh, we have Greed on the roam with the bird as they look to potentially do, is that Rift Herald? Yeah, it's Rift Herald.
This will be the second one if they can pick it up. The first one already went to TS Sloth, and that allowed them to take out the outer mid lane turret. Rift Herald, though, is going to be taking a lot of damage. Should be spotted quite shortly by NYNBW. It looks like they're not even going to bother.
Is the respawn time on Herald the same as Baron?
8 minutes? No, impossible. They killed the first Herald around 12 minutes? I think it's like a 4-minute.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we have Greed with the red buff too, so this is going to be a free kill onto Mingo.
Wow.
Right, as a Ghost Blade Quince, so you have a lot of movement speed, then there's just a follow-up burst damage afterwards.
Mingo didn't even bother to use the singing pool. He just accepted that that was his fate. Here, though, met up with the Rift Herald buff, Team Sigh is going to be looking to siege this middle lane inner turret. Here come the buffed up minions, though. They are not as tanky as Baron minions. Keep that in mind. Rift Herald only increases the damage that the minions do to the turrets and other minions. But it will be enough to secure the inner mid lane turret.
But yeah, it seems that for the next game, it'll probably be in NYNBW's favor to look to either pick or ban Quinn next game, because you're seeing how much of a force this champion is. Like, look how fast it just went from mid to bot lane just now.
But there is hope. NYNBW, Rageblade has been acquired on the Jax. We'll make a lot of fun, and we joke a lot about how, oh, just a 1-item power spike is all he needs. We're going to have to see if that holds true.
Oh, they're actually looking for this tower dive with the Glacial Fissure, knocking up YOLO Swag as the fight, trying to fight, go onto TS Sloth with 2 flashes being used for him as they look all their CC onto the Kalista, who isn't able to do enough damage. Even the red comes out, doesn't even, it kills Morgana, but doesn't kill Ressa, but actually it was able to get Nautilus too, as Greed comes back just to try and get something for his team, and the Warriors by hits him and he has to flash away. And that is a 3 for 2. In the favor of NYNBW. So interesting thing about the fight is they look to do that fight because Greed was not with them at the start of the fight. So they're like, let's do this 4v5 tower dive. Especially Lulu was also a little low at the same time. So that's part of the reason why that worked well for them. But one thing we also have to consider too is that there is the late games going for them. There is some hope that if Team Sigh can't close out this game, NYNBW can come back off just late games going on. Because when you look at the damage output, we have the damage output of a Jax, of Vlad, and you have the hyper tank scaling that is Maokai.
Oh, so very interesting to note here. We talked, we discussed earlier the Jax build, right? We thought it might be a Trinity Force. Oh, hang on a minute. TS Greed gonna be showing us why Quinn is broken. That's an auto. That's 2. That's the ignite, and down you go. The bird is the word, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, so something very interesting to note. We thought it would be a Phage and into Trinity Force. Actually, what Mentos is doing is building a Randwinds, and he's going to be using that longsword most likely to still go Gunblade. He can still go Gunblade with this build. He's simply opting for more armor, which at this point in time, I absolutely cannot disagree with at all. That the damage coming out from TS Greed is immense. Oh, Mingu though uses Ingwen Pool far too late. He's going to be eating the binding into the death charge. Will it be enough? Mingu trying to kite for his life. He's trying to heal with the transfusion, but the binding lands, and the Tormented Toil will secure the kill for YOLO Gucci Swag. We are going to be seeing the rapid fire cannon second out of TS Greed, so he's going to be looking to continue this snowball as Team Sigh is going to be taking a completely free top lane inner turret. Team NYNBW just not there at all, completely on the wrong side of the map. They were hoping.
I think they might actually go for this Baron that just spawned. Yeah, I see Ping's going for it, and seems pretty free. You know, Mingo is Zed for a couple of seconds, but we have to see if NYNBW knows that this is happening. I don't think they actually know yet. I think they have Kalista and Braum trying to go search, see what happens, and we have them starting to roam around it, but there's so many pink wars around it that it seems they might get a potential pick with TS Greed onto maybe I do no damage. And this sapling comes out, so they do see them, but they do get the pick anyway. Oh no, the face call gets used to save Matt. Spooky Ghost coming out.
And looks like no pick.
And the Ghost Blade after being used, as it seems that could be another pick onto Mingo, with the knockup coming out, but Mentos coming with the counter strike, but he just gets focused so hard by the combined damage as a flash snare onto I do no damage, takes him out of the fight as well, followed by more damage onto the US economy, and this is going to be their inhibitor followed by a Baron potentially.
This is looking like it's going to be his inhibitor in a very short game as well. Team Sigh just dominating in their early game rotations, dominating in their vision control, and just able to completely control the map.
Right now, this is going to be their Baron now that they're still 10-second death timers onto the side of NYNBW, and
Quinn,
I don't think they'll even be able to even stop it because the Kalma has a lot of attack speed and damage, and the Quinn has a lot of attack speed and damage as well.
There you go. There you go. The Bio Arcane Barrage. Do it. Do it.
Look at how fast. Look how fast this Baron is dying.
Look at the auto attack. I love seeing this.
It looks really hilarious in that skin, especially.
That's about as fast as a Baron as you can get. The only thing that would make that perfect was if they all used their master emote right then and there. If they backed away, that would have been great.
But yeah, with this Baron buff, they're going to probably either contest / do Dragon. After they do that, they'll get the movement speed, and then from there they can look to just do a 4-1 split push that we've seen them always doing, where we have TS Greed on the top lane tower, but we have Mingo flashing over the wall with a death charge going over onto him as well. Face Mount did get used, but it just was not enough to save him as Lush. Okay, so Matt has to flash over the wall. Spooky Ghost finds himself onto US economy as Lush and Yellow Swag try to get Mentos, but he just hops over the wall and then they just look to just siege the bot side tower. What is Mentos' plan right here? I think he's just gonna recall right here.
Mingo and I do no damage, thought they had TS3, but Sloth appeared just in the nick of time, got the Whimsy down, got the Wild Growth down, and...
You wanna know what would have been funny if Mentos did? It would have been funny if he decided to proxy their wave.
At this point, that would have been the best case scenario, to be honest, but, because, you know, a lowly Jax who's not even tanky, you're just not even going to hold it. And there's actually the surrender vote, 23-5, 23 minutes. Team Sigh looking as strong as ever, running once again another Juggernaut comp with the additional Quinn sprinkles on top.
I think it has to be said here, you have to either pick or ban the Quinn right now after that, especially after a game like that.
Yeah, or...
And then you also have to look at how much pressure that the Lulu provides too, because since they swap sides now, they should have to either first pick Quinn, first pick Lulu, and then ban the other out.
That would definitely make things a lot better. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking a quick break here as the teams regather themselves, maybe some re-strategizing from NYNBW. We're going to give them a few minutes to get ready and get back into the next game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.